Everybody, welcome to the Freedom Files episode 3.
Freedom Files.
Cheers,
guys.
All right. So we're drinking some Cali Blonde today. Thank you to
Last call.
Thank you for the Cali Blonde. Okay. You know Jimmy, you know me, Fred. Our guest today is Jeff Combs of Combs Equipment and Rental. And can't wait to get into some of that stuff, man. I'm proud of this guy. I've known this guy for a while. He's gone far.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. I'm so happy you're here. I want to do a quick rundown before we get started. Taylor and Company. Okay. I was supposed to show the new, very, very much anticipated 1873 rifle chambered in 9mm. I got one in. I've been waiting since January of 2023, dude. And last month I got one in. I talked to Taylor and Sons. I'm a direct dealer. I also get their product from Lipsy's. Lipsy's does great with Taylor. And I put that sucker on Gunbroker and sold in like 5 minutes. So I'm hoping to get another one. I can't display it and show you, but what I can show you is their awesome new revolver, the Drifter.
Ooh.
This bad boy. All right. Octagon barrel, 1873 design. It's got a little bit of an extended grip. This is in 9mm. Yes, it is. Comes 2 cylinders. You get one for 357 and 38 special, and you get one for 9mm. So shout out to Taylor.
Nice.
Thank
you.
Is
that color case hardened too?
It is color case hardened. This is one beautiful gun right here. Taylor and Company, they really put a lot of pride in their guns. These are Italian imports that they put their own spin on, and they're incredible. And they usually do their custom action work as well. It's like smooth as butter. These are awesome guns. So
nice blue.
Let me say, Taylor, apologize,
really nice.
For not showing the 1873 rifle like I said I was gonna, but hurry up and produce more and get me another one and I will. So, there we go.
Nice.
Okay. Let's get into let's get into Jeff, man. Tell me, bud. Tell me about Combs Rental. Tell me about yourself.
I'm owner and operator of Combs One Equipment Co. in Oakdale. We specialize in equipment rentals, sales, and service. We're going into about our 8th year. I've known Fred for a long time. He's been a business owner in Oakdale. I've bought several guns. Love this guy. So I'm just happy to be here, man. Whatever you guys need to know.
Tell me about the new location, man. I'm so proud of you for that building, dude. But before you get into that building, let me just tell you a little bit about that building, bro.
Yes.
I've been driving by that building. First off, what's the address? It's
1187 East F Street.
East F Street.
Yes.
Man. What a cool location. I found myself at that location multiple times through Fred's Firearms, actually.
Oh.
Looking into it, a little bit rich for my blood, you know what I mean?
Okay.
And I'm so happy with where I settled out. But then when I saw that your location was going in there, I was like, oh man, Jeff's getting that. I'm so proud of him. That's
we
so
lucked
awesome.
out, man. We lucked out on that, definitely. And you know the history of the location, right?
I know a little bit. Tell me about it.
Okay, so it used to be an old bait and tackle shop, Totem's Bait and Tackle. Yeah. That's what it was known for. It was the last stop on your way out of Oakdale to get bait, tackle, beer, something to drink. And so that's what it was for several years. It has changed hands. It's been a few different businesses since they had closed. But yeah, we had the opportunity to purchase the building, and, it needed a lot of work, as you know, but it felt like it was a good opportunity for us to kind of take that next step. We have been in business for 8 years, but didn't really have a brick and mortar location. Yeah. So we were more of a mobile based unit. You would call, reserve something, and we would come to you. So now it's kind of, posing some new challenges having a brick and mortar. As you know, with that comes a lot of responsibility and overhead and stuff like that. But location, man. So we're in a great location, and I think in the long run, it's going to pay off.
Yeah, I'm so proud and happy that you guys got that. That's
Thank
such
you.
an awesome establishment here in town, man. And dude, don't you just feel warm and fuzzy on a little piece of the rock in Oakdale?
I do. You know what I mean? I do. Well, and it does, and like seeing, other friends of ours that are business owners and have brick and mortars, like ultimately that has been our goal, and it took us 8 years to get there.
And now you got You got that front parking area, which is so awesome for Oakdale, man. I mean,
It
that's
is.
just incredible. And then you've got that back lot, right? Like that corner kind of back
Yeah,
lot.
the lot size is about a half acre altogether.
Yeah, that's huge, man.
Yeah.
That's so
So, little bit of limitation as far as access. I mean, I have a little sliver on the side that we can get down, but I mean, for what we're doing, I think it's going to work out just great for us.
So driving by, and I'm telling you, I need to get in there and I need to see your shop. Bro.
You do need to come by.
I do. I
You
need
do
to come by and check it out, man.
Yeah.
And I noticed just driving by that you're kind of like adopting new things, like those big, beautiful slabs that you've got out
Yes.
front. Like, tell me about that.
So having that location is kind of opening the door for, different revenue streams as far as, we do consignment sales. And then we were approached by a local vendor, which mills wood live edge stuff. And he, asked us if he could put a display up.
How cool.
So we granted that. And I think it was good because, I mean, if you've driven by the building, you see we kind of adopted that look, kind of the same style you're going here with the live edge and some of the redwood.
Man,
as far as
it's needed, man. It's like even more so. I don't think it ever was out of fashion, but I think now, especially like COVID, dude,
yes,
that brought it back.
Yes,
the rustic look is
yes,
here.
It is. And then also, I mean, everybody knows Ferresi's next door. It's like
Absolutely.
Everybody's favorite lunch spot, right? Yeah. Mine included.
Oh yeah.
And
gotta get that Leo.
So that Leo pastrami, I'm telling you. But so we kind of wanted to do something that was going to complement their business next door because they used a lot of the barn wood on their building. So when we were doing, I'd say, the renovation, we were like, well, what can we do here to, not totally copy, but something that's going to complement next door.
Absolutely.
So we kind of went with that redwood look in the front, and then with the paint scheme, I think we pulled off some pretty good curb appeal. I mean, that was the ultimate goal. I
love the look of it, man.
Thank you.
I really do, man. I'm so proud of you guys for getting that. So I know that this is just a question just for a talking point because I already know the answer to it, but I'm going to ask anyway. But Feresi's has got to compliment and get you some business coming in there, right? Because I mean, during lunchtime, they are booming.
They do experience a lunch rush, and I mean, them only being, I think, open from 11 to 3, but in that 11 to 3 hour, that parking lot is full.
Yeah,
the whole time. So yes, absolutely, that does benefit us with foot traffic. People waiting for tables or they're having lunch. They see what we have going on at our business, and they want to come by and see what's going on. So that's been great. Also, another thing too, I don't know if we got into it much, but we do offer small engine repair at our shop as well.
And that's needed too, man.
Yes.
We just had a location closed the last 3 years. Small engine repair, kind of a rundown place, man, off on Up Street. Now I don't think that building's even there anymore. But I know, especially in California, where everything's going to electric, and it's harder and harder to get these small engines. Small engine repair is going to be huge, man, because how many chainsaws, how many different weed eaters, how many anything is out there.
Exactly. No, and there is a market for it, and I feel that there is a need for that here in Oakdale. And we were kind of looking around, and there isn't really anybody doing it in Oakdale as a shop. The shops that were here have closed down.
Is this something that's relatively newer that you started offering, or have you started? How long have you been doing the small engine repair?
The small engine, just us having the location, has opened up the door for small engine repair. So, I mean, we've always done like tractor service and things of that nature on like our equipment and some of our customers' stuff. But being able to have the brick and mortar has kind of opened up that opportunity to offer the small engine repair. And we felt that, it was needed in Oakdale.
That's awesome, man. What would you say because I know that you do the rental and you have different equipment that you rent, you do transport, everything else, you do pickup, you do delivery.
I wear a lot of different hats.
You wear a lot of different hats, right?
I do.
Tell me, what is the hat that brings you the most amount of business? Like if you had to concentrate on one hat for the most amount, what would that one be?
I would say the one hat for us, as far as generative income, the rental has always been good for us. The excavation equipment always stays busy for us. So all this other stuff that we're incorporating as far as the small engine repair and the consignment sales, that was another aspect I wanted to get into by having that brick and mortar, as it's opened up the door for us to do consignments.
Nice.
It's great. We've got a lot of traffic that drives by the location, so we're able to bring in equipment for consignment. And not only that, I mean, motorcycles, off-road stuff. We're into all that kind of stuff. I mean,
man. That's so awesome.
We call it the work hard, play hard store,
Yeah.
so we've got a little bit of everything, work and play. So pick your poison, I guess. Right.
I love that, man. I love that you're able to expand. And I know this is my 4th location in Oakdale. It's the first one that I've actually had a mortgage on rather than a lease.
Okay. Right.
And having that, you get that ability to say, okay, I don't have to worry when the lease ends of it raising, or somebody else's family member might be coming in or something like that, So it gives you that kind of opportunity to say, hey, you know what? I'm investing in my own asset here, and guess what? I'm here to stay in the long haul, and you get those opportunities to do that. You're able to, like you said, branch out and do more things. I think that's awesome that you're.
And that's what that storefront or brick and mortar location does for a business. I mean, as far as it kind of, like I said, takes it next level, so to speak. But with that comes its fair share of stresses and things I mean, you've been in business for quite some time. I mean, what are your biggest issues? Like, I mean, as far as like dealing with the public,
so
I'm sure you've had some incidences where, how do you handle, like, say, a disgruntled?
Yeah, that happens every now and then, man. We do. So I think I feed off people's energy, and I kind of give back to that person the energy that I'm getting, right? So let's say if you've got, and then policy, right? If you are able to really get a set in stone policy, hey, this is how we operate, right? Here's our agreement, okay? I'm sure when you're renting these pieces of equipment out, you've got quite a policy form that they have to sign.
It's about 4 pages. Yeah. It's about a 4-page rental agreement.
So what you're trying to do is you're trying to minimize the argument, right? So if there's any kind of argument that could be there at all in business, like, hey, it was like that when I got it, or, I did this, or whatever the case may be that might make your life harder, you're trying to, by that policy, minimize that.
Yes.
So that's what I've learned over the years, especially having something with compliancy factors like guns. I mean, a lot of that stuff, the state, as much as I complain about them, and don't anybody think that I'm giving the state credit, because state of California, their whole DOJ and their Firearms Division Bureau probably needs to go bye-bye with what they're doing to the public. But a lot of the state compliancy stuff that we do will actually take care of some of minimizing that argument, right? I mean, look, I hate the fact that people have to have all these things, but they do. And that state compliancy law, kind of sets forth the guidelines. And then as far as like, the disgruntled customers, you can get along with them, and you can complain and be disgruntled along with them of the overage of rules and regulations for the state of compliance. So I can relate with them a little bit. Now, if there's somebody that's just being plain rude, that rule, the customer's always right. Yeah, until they're wrong, because they can be wrong.
Right.
That's true. Everybody needs to have, like I said, I try and feed off people's energy, and I try and de-escalate any kind of situations. Right. And I don't really get a lot of people, man. Most people that come in here, they're happy like me.
I was going to say, a lot of your clientele is probably easygoing.
They are. I mean, I've had a handful over the years, that I may have had to raise my voice. I've even had a couple times where I've had to kind of call OPD and say, hey, man, you guys might want to check out the cameras, because this, happened in here, just in case. But other than that, man, I mean, it's just everybody that's in here wants to be in here just like I want them to be in here.
Okay. Well, that's great. That's good. That's good. So, we've had the location for about a year now. So, and then dealing with the small engine aspect of it has, like I said, you're dealing with the public now. You've got to, as soon as you open the door and the open sign's on, you don't know who's going to walk in the door, what you're going to be working on. And there's a million different scenarios.
Sure.
So, and a million things that could go wrong with a piece of equipment, or
just roll with punches.
And you do. And each customer, and don't get me wrong, we are thankful and happy for all the business and the support we have in the community since we've opened. But you do have that 1 in 100.
Sure.
That will, whatever you do, you're not going to make them happy. Right. And I try to approach that with some empathy and not try to match their energy or try to escalate things. Obviously something's going on in their life that, we don't know about, that's the reason they're acting that way. So I try to, take that in, but sometimes it's hard.
It is.
It's hard. It can be hard to bite your tongue at times, but being a business owner, you got to handle it with a sense of professionalism.
Right. I like the golden rule, love thy neighbor.
Okay.
Do everything you can to be as nice as you can, but you're absolutely right. Sometimes it'd be difficult. That's where I think that policy falls into. It's like, especially small engine repair. If I'm going to compare it to like Fred's, where we do, repair on firearms, we do some restoration.
Right.
We take a long time, I mean, it's me and Jimmy doing stuff in here. Grant gets involved with some of the stuff too. He's real good at the 1022s. He's real good at the old school 50 stuff, but he's only in here a few times a month, and he's working on it. So other than that, it's like we're putting on all these hats and we're trying to do it.
Right.
And it's getting to the project and then completing the project without interruption, which is usually before the store opens or after the store closes.
I've been finding that out.
Yeah, exactly.
I've been finding that out.
Man.
To get anything done in the shop, it's usually after hours or before we open. So
my 2 hours in here, I usually get here about 6:30.
Okay.
I'll eat my breakfast like 7 o'clock, man. I'll put on my earbuds and listen to my my stories about the ancient whatever I'm listening to, Egypt or whatever. And it's like my zen, man.
Right,
I'm just getting stuff
in the zone.
done.
Right,
I'm getting my zone.
Right.
And that's when the stuff gets done. And then 9 o'clock rolls around, the phone starts ringing, people start coming in. And it's
Yeah.
like, okay, game over. I got to put this stuff down. And you're moving from one project to the next project to the next project. Into the day, 6, 7 o'clock rolls around and you got all these projects that's kind of laying out there and you got to put them away, So we have like a policy form when we take these guns in. First off, there's a compliancy regulation, that you have to have a properly permitted firearm that comes into your establishment. But we also have our own flare on there. And we'll tell them, hey, we hope that we get it done in 2 weeks, man, but we're going to put 4 or 5 weeks on there just in case.
TBA.
Give you that buffer.
TBA.
Right. Give you that buffer.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's one way we've kind of handled it. I would say early on, I will say this, we've got much less complaints these days than we did when we started.
Okay.
So it's a learning lesson all the way through.
Yeah, right. Well, I've got other friends that own businesses, and we always kind of talk about different scenarios and stuff like that. And he says over time, you are going to have these customers, but you end up weeding them out at some point. You know what I mean? And finding that happy medium, I guess, or how you deal with different customers, because with what we're doing, like you said, we're about 2 weeks out on stuff. If we have to order parts in, California.
There you go. And that's the long part of it, man. It's not so much installing the part. It's like, man, so we do a lot of Midway, Brownells. We do Numerich gun parts, that kind of stuff. These older guns, Granddad's collection comes in and it's like, I just want to shoot it. Well, it's real hard. Sometimes it's an eBay find. And when it comes to that, well, now it's time for us to try and look on eBay. So I'll call that customer up and I'll say, look, I've looked through everything I can. I can't find a part. You're going to have to go through and look like through the eBay to find this thing or whatever. Do you want us to continue doing that? Because if we do, there's probably going to be about 20 minutes to 40 minutes a day of us trying to hunt for it. That might happen in the first 10, but it might take, 3 or 4 days to go by. Or do you want me to give you that part, give you the option? 9 times out of 10, they're going to say like, "Nah, you do it."
Right.
So I don't want to deal with it.
I don't want. Yeah, they don't want to deal with it.
I don't want to deal with it.
No, and we get that too. Like you said, we're working on different things, but the scenario is the same. You know what I mean? We're you got to order a part. This is what it's going to be, and like you said, 9 times out of 10, that customer is like, "Nah, go ahead, you order it. I don't want to deal with it."
Ordering the part, the delivery is like way worse than it used to be. I never used to. I'll do like a next day air or stuff like that, but. The last maybe year, I don't bother anymore.
Right.
I have paid for it still, and it still gets here 2 weeks later. Yeah. And they don't want to refund you either.
No. When you get it from those manufacturers, that's it, man. It's yours, so you own it. Hey, speaking of repair, I know you do small engine. Are you doing a lot of? Do you do repairs like on the Bobcats and the other stuff?
We do tractor repairs. I do have a diesel mechanic that works on our diesel. Not only does he service our tractors and work on it, he works on our customers' stuff as well. So we have been working on some Bobcats, some Kubotas, equipment of that nature as well. So from mowers to motorcycles to Bobcats, we've been working on anything.
I love that you guys are doing that.
I hate to turn work down, but there are some stuff like some of the newer stuff that comes in that's A lot of it's digital and electronic and stuff like that. So we don't have like the laptops or anything to like plug in and diag, but we've been finding a lot of the stuff we've been working on is some of the older stuff. So, which has been good, and we're happy to work on it.
That's good stuff,
so,
man.
We're super happy, and the opportunity to have a brick and mortar has been huge.
It is.
So.
It really is, man. I had two buddies. Well, I had a lot of them back in the day, but I'll never forget. If you guys know Sean Conway, he's a realtor here in town.
Yeah.
He's been here forever. He's a great guy, and he's been a buddy of mine. He's a hunter too. He goes out and gets his birds and all that stuff. He's an enthusiast. And we always communicate with each other. He's a great guy, like shout out to Sean, man. He's awesome.
John.
So yeah. And he says, Fred, you gotta buy yourself a building. You just gotta, and I'm hearing it from my buddy who's a real estate agent. Right. And I'm like, Sean, you're just trying to get me to buy something.
Right.
You're doing everything else. Well, we also have another friend that does signs, Mike Gibson. He does Signature Sign. And, he's been very successful with his commercial ownership. And he says, Fred, I know you're leasing and everything else, but you keep expressing to me some of these frustrations of leasing and everything. You're going to have frustrations at first when you own, but get out there and buy one. And then when I met Daniel, man, give a freaking shout out to Daniel because he's a blessing, and I was able to buy this building off of him. I'll tell you, it's been, we bought it in 2019. So it's been 5 years. Like I said,
5 years.
5 years already flew by like that, man.
And you've done a great job.
Years, man.
You've done a great job with the place too. I mean,
yeah,
you know
what?
The decor. I like everything that you've done with the rustic, galvanized with the barnwood.
A lot of that
it looks
man.
great,
Chris
man.
Lewis came in here and
great
burned
stuff.
Him and Mike Toy that used to own Big Boys, and he came in here and helped out. Jim Tomsell is no longer with us, but Jim came in here and really helped out. It was us guys just coming in here when I had that little time place. Man, I would close that shop at 5:00. I'd run right over here from like 5 to 8:30, 3.5 hours with those boys.
Yep.
And we'd be sawing it up and putting all this stuff up, and and then you meet a lot of good people. You meet people like, I got this guy that does this. Silverio, man, I love him to death. It needed a roof bad. The place was pretty much Daniel's like storage, for his stuff, and didn't have nothing in here. So it needed a lot. And we were able to get really good contractors out here at a great rate. And
the traffic that you get that drives by here.
30,000 cars a day, man.
How many?
30,000 cars a day. Yeah. That we get
you can't beat that kind of exposure.
Yeah, you can't miss these signs out here. So
no, and the signage out front.
But that's what I love about your location too, man. And not only the fact that you have that, but you have that parking, bro.
Yeah,
that's the big blessing.
And even we do have the parking up front, and I am kind of limited. I can't bring all my equipment there. So I do have a property that we keep some of the overflow stuff there, because if I parked all my equipment out front, nobody would be able to get in there to park.
Yeah,
So
true.
So I would like to have more parking or more place, I guess, to display our equipment. But we'll take what we can get.
Yeah, man, absolutely. And that I got to be honest, bro. I think that's like the primo location in Oakdale too, man. Because even when they start building more stuff, which is hard to do here, you only have the east and the west, and maybe a little bit like going down towards Gear or whatever. It's not going to have that feel that yours has with that room, that building was built when the town was a smaller town.
That was the edge of town, I think, at one point, was it not?
I think it was, man.
The dealerships weren't there. There might have been maybe a couple businesses, but I don't think Save Mart was down there. I think Totem, that was like the last stop for beer and bait. And I think they sold guns out of there too.
I think one day they did, man.
You
back in the day,
a pistol and a 6-pack. But it's a great location.
Bringing us some brews. Thank you, Grant.
Thank you,
sir.
So
awesome. That's a good friend right now that realizes that you're.
And then I don't know if this is true or not, but somebody was telling me that I guess OID is building a new building out off what road is that?
I'm embarrassed to say that I was on city council. And I don't know the definitive answer to that, but I'm 70% yes that
I believe they're building a new location, and so somebody was telling me that. I guess when that does pull out, that they might end up pushing, because there's a stoplight right there, that street might end up going through to G Street. So if that happens, technically that would make me a corner lot. We're kind of keeping our fingers crossed that if that does happen, that would be great. but not gonna hold our breath. We're just gonna work with what we have.
Yeah,
but,
that's what it's all about, is the long haul. It's about the long run.
Definitely,
that's it. That's what it's about.
And we're giving it a go. And I with the way rentals are going and the response that we're getting on the small engine stuff, I don't think we're going to be going anywhere anytime soon.
No.
So I would like to, plant our roots in the ground and stick it out there and be able to provide Oakdale with a good service.
Cheers to success, my man.
Thank you, guys.
Absolutely, bro.
Yeah, thank you.
I love it.
Appreciate y'all. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, man, I love having you on, brother. All right, so let's get into. Let me put these readers on real quick. I want to talk about the Real ID real quick. I just took a trip to Oklahoma, Russellville, Arkansas. Just got back earlier this week. Had a great time. Jess, if you're watching this, did whip your ass at pool. Just saying. Anyway, so while we're getting on the plane, TSA or whatever is shouting to everybody, you got to have your IDs. If you do not have your real IDs by May 7th, you will not be able to board this plane. Ladies and gentlemen, get your real IDs. All right. I want to talk a little bit about real IDs because this pertains to firearms and buying firearms. Currently, you do not need your real ID. However, I am very worried that the state of California DOJ is going to pull some May 7th thing and say, well, you don't have your real ID, you can't buy your gun. So if you don't, I'm just kind of worried about it, man. And I'm worried about everything that they do because
no more passport, straight up real ID.
Yeah, like right now, if you don't have your real ID, and if everybody is watching this says, what is your real ID? Well, it's if you look at your California driver's license and up in the upper right-hand corner, it says federal limits apply. You do not have a real ID. So let me just talk about the history real quick. The Real ID Act passed in 2005 was a response to recommendations from the 9/11 Commission to improve the security of state-issued identification. It established minimum security standards for driver's license and identification cards and prohibited federal agencies from accepting non-compliant IDs for certain purposes like commercial air travel and access to federal facilities. The act aimed to enhance the accuracy and reliability of identification documents, particularly the wake of September 11th attacks. All right, so in 2005 is when this thing came out. In 2018, the California Department of Motor Vehicles began issuing real IDs. Our state was late, all right? Everybody else started issuing them. California was kind of late at the game. I suspect because California, the biggest, most heavily funded state, saying, don't tell us what to do, we can do whatever we want. I mean, we're in a state right now that doesn't require IDs to vote, okay?
Right.
So, I don't know. Anyway, 2020, it came out, all 50 states were required, but guess what we had? We had COVID. All right, so COVID stalled it. Now we're in 2025, and the feds put their foot down, and they said, we don't care what California says, we don't care what anybody says. By May 7th, the real IDs, the act is enforceable, and the deadline for commercial air travel is reached. What I'm worried about is the DOJ of California saying, hey, your birth certificate or your passport's not going to work. I don't know. I'm speculating, so I don't know how accurate that is. I tried to look it up, but I've been unpleasantly surprised by the DOJ before. So get your real ID. Go out there and get the thing. California stalled and said, no, you can't make us have the real ID. It's not everybody's fault. It's convenient to just get it online. It does kind of suck to have to go down to the DMV and bring your birth certificates and all your stuff.
Been through it. Yeah.
And luckily I went through it in 2019 because if I didn't,
I think that's when I got mine.
I wouldn't be able to get my state FFL.
Oh.
Yeah, my California FFL.
Okay.
Yeah. So luckily I got that pre-COVID because during COVID it was impossible. The DMVs were shut down.
Right.
Shut down. So that's all I have to say about that is everybody get your real ID. Let me see what else we got. Jimmy, you want to show off?
Talk about the
let's show some stuff off over here.
Which one?
What do you got over here? Let's see that fancy one.
Show the fancy one off.
Let's see the fancy one.
I'm trying to show the price if you can. So I don't think we're supposed to show the price on the YouTube or whatever. But yeah. Okay.
That's beautiful.
This is the one that we talked about last episode. I think I showed just the slide. Maybe. I don't know what I showed.
I think you just showed the slide.
Okay,
I
so
I didn't see it.
We've got got phones ringing is what we got. This thing is so badass that it makes phones ring.
they're knocking, they're blowing up the
That
phones.
they already started blowing up the
They're
phones
already
button.
calling.
Yeah.
Yes, right.
Yeah, Jimmy cranked this thing out. This thing is fucking phenomenal, man.
Very nice.
I mean, just looking at the deep engravement on this and the detail, the attention to detail is incredible. Jim, talk about the Cerakote on this thing that you put in there and how you made this exterior portion pop and the coating that you put on to ensure its longevity.
Stunning.
After we did the deep engraving, Sarah coated it with the Armor Black. That way it get into the outline or the background of that engraving. Then we baked it. Then I hand sanded it, the sides or the flats of it, and then the corners. After we did that, then I sprayed. Cerakote makes a clear coat. I can't remember the number of it, but they make a clear coat. They have a matte and then a glossy one. I used the glossy one and
good choice.
Sprayed it.
It's good.
The one I use, they have two different ones. The one that looks better is the Air Cure. They also have a Oven Cure. That one's the Air Cure.
And what about the sights, man? Tell me about the sights.
The sights, I had to kind of custom fit the sights because they were part of a kind of a different batch. I liked how that rear sight met up. So they're actually custom fitted sights, basically.
And then how about our crowned barrel? You talked last time.
I just noticed that as you turn that, I
Yep.
see that. That's unique.
We flush cut the barrel and gave it a deep crown. I was going to darken it, but I thought leaving it the polished metal color would look better with how the outside is and the stainless slide stop. It would kind of go in, fit to each other.
And how about our spring and trigger kit?
That is the Ghost.
4.5 pound Ranger kit?
Yeah.
Heck yeah. Fully spring kit. We also have the extended stainless steel slide release that really complements.
Extended mag release on it.
Yeah. Extended mag release on this bad boy. Yeah, I'm just happy. It's just awesome. So it's here. If you guys want to come to the shop and check it out, we also have it listed up on Gunbroker. Check it out, and there's definitely going to be more to come. We're excited about the laser engravement.
Good job, Jim.
Yep. Good job, Jim. You did awesome on that.
How much time do you have to do something like that? How much time do you have in that?
Well, the engraving takes a while,
Yeah.
but the more hand work, I say it probably took 6 to 7 hours of polishing.
Man.
Yeah.
Wow.
So altogether, what do you think, man? How many hours, like, altogether?
Maybe about 16.
Wow. 16 hours.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's pretty good, man. Yeah.
Not bad.
Well, I mean, it's just handsome, dude.
It's a
And
work of
there- and
art.
it really is,
I mean,
man. And there's
almost wouldn't even
nothing.
wouldn't even want to shoot it almost. You know?
Oh, yeah.
But absolutely would want to shoot it.
Yeah.
And
Definitely.
And there's nothing else out there like it. You know, so that's what I love about
Yeah,
it.
it's a one of a kind.
Jimmy's also got a new video. I want you to, if you can, go to his YouTube and check out Freeman Customs for the new video that he just made. It's the longest video he ever made, and it's basically start to finish on customizing a Kimber 1911 and
Saving Kimber from itself.
yeah, saving Kimber from itself.
Built back better.
Built back better
That's
than a
what it's
Kimber.
called. Okay.
Okay, let's get into what Jimmy wants to get into really bad. I don't want to end this thing because I'm having a good time, man. So we'll get into this real quick and we'll go over this for this episode. But AB 1127, that's Assembly Bill, California 1127. We're going to start this off. Let me just read it to you real fast. So California basically has a history with 1127. One of them was with Jerry Brown about like baby changing stations. And so if you guys are going to Google search AB 1127, there's two distinct versions, one related to baby changing stations and another related to illegal firearm manufacturing. Obviously, we're talking about the newer one that is related to illegal firearm manufacturing. So as was initially induced, it was aimed to increase access to diaper changing stations in public facilities, requiring at least one station accessible to both men and women in new construction or significant renovations or whatever. The bill was authored by Assemblyman Eduardo Garcia. I don't even know if they're still an Assemblyman. Okay, forget about that bill. If you go to Google and you're finding that one about baby stations, no. Type in AB 1127 firearms. Later version of AB 1127, introduced by Assembly Member Jesse Gabriel. Jesse Gabriel is still very active in the California Assembly. Focuses on preventing the spread of illegal do-it-yourself machine guns by prohibiting the sale of firearms easily converted into automatic weapons. I'm going to say that again. It sounds like a good bill. Hey, man, we're going to prevent the spread of illegal do-it-yourself machine guns. No, they're not.
No.
Let's go on to the second part of that. By prohibiting the sale of firearms easily converted into automatic weapons. So in other words, they've got this bill that's come out and they've said, hey, you know what we should do? Even though this Glock right here is not a machine gun, it could probably take parts to become a machine gun.
I was going to say.
It's Minority Report.
It's a minority.
Dude, it's Minority Report. It's a pre-crime.
So let's ban those firearms that could possibly take those parts to become a machine gun. So that's what AB 1127 is. The purpose that the Assembly has put is to prevent the sale of firearms easily convertible into machine guns through the use of Glock
Well, those
switches.
converters are already federally illegal.
That would be illegal.
They're illegal completely.
And if you took one of those converters and you did install it, well, you've got a whole bunch of illegal.
It's illegal then.
Right, it is.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
But they're wanting to ban the Glock just because it has the opportunity to become illegal.
Wouldn't that fall under the line of any semi-automatic weapon could?
Well, they're doing
be
it more with the
converted to
Glock because of how the trigger and the trigger bar and the
yeah, but you know what though, Jeff? I think you're right though, bro. I think that this is like, how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time, right? So that's exactly what this is aimed at. This has passed, right? It did currently pass.
Yeah, it passed.
Yeah. And you guys should go to that Copper Jacket. I don't know his YouTube, but I watch him all the time.
Copper Jacket TV.
Copper Jacket TV. He's very educated. He shows films of the courthouses and courtrooms and everything else, and he's real good.
Well, he's freaking out right now because they just Nevada just passed a bill.
I know
now.
This guy. He's like, California moves to Nevada to get away from all this stuff, and Nevada's doing it now too.
Yeah.
But
right.
Yes.
My goodness.
Oh man, you got to have a laugh every now and then.
You got to.
So I think that like where you were going with this, as far as like, hey man, that means they could just like ban everything. I think that's what they're trying to do. When I say they, I mean the Assembly.
That falls under long. Right, I've seen even a Ruger 1022 can be converted to an automatic.
Right. Yeah.
Well, the judge that we were talking about on the last episode that did that, he put out that video about easily being able to put different slides on, stuff like that. God, I can't remember his name.
I don't know either,
Ninth
but he did a
Circuit
great
judge.
job.
He talked about that, how California was going over a slippery slope, and it just went over on this where they could ban the whole gun. And what did they do a few weeks later? Ban the whole gun.
Yeah. Right.
So that's
It's
something that we need to be very wary about. I always tell people, we talk about this, we complain about it all the time. We say like, well, what are we going to do about it? Well, the only thing I know to do is write your politicians that have authored these or that have any type of control in this, So I have put together Assembly Member Jesse Gabriel's contact info. If you want to look there, right there. Maybe shoot him a line, shoot his staff a line, give him a call if you can. I don't think he's probably going to pick up the phone, but if there's enough people that get involved that say, look, you're picking on people that are already following the rules and regulations. Your criminals have been committing crimes.
You're getting too
against
crazy.
You're just getting way too over the top and aggressive with the freedoms that make America what they are, and that's America.
So I didn't vote for California.
So I put in here some questions that would be good to ask them. Are there more injuries and or deaths in California caused by Glock or illegal drugs such as fentanyl, methamphetamine, or heroin? Guess what? I know the answer to that, but I'm just saying, if they're truly concerned about the public safety, they should probably start maximizing on consequence for the dope dealers and the traffickers and that kind of thing.
What did we get on that? Overdose deaths?
Exactly. They have been light on.
Yes, they have.
Are there more injuries and or deaths in California caused by Glock or illegal driving while intoxicated or traffic collisions in general, just on your road, because you're not attacking cars and like, oh, they can put a 500 horsepower engine in that car, we should ban it. Like, you're not doing that kind of thing, Are there more deaths in California caused from diabetes than Glock? The answer to
or
those
firearms,
questions,
period. Yes.
Firearms, period. Yes, it is. It's overwhelming.
They're not
There's
going
a lot more
after
deaths and
McDonald's.
injuries caused by these other things. I'm not saying that it's good to have any deaths or injuries, but I just feel like you have a political following, and they're willing to go along with you with something that they think that they can achieve, right? So the hard problems that are the real threat, they think, well, we can't achieve that, so let's not attack that. You know.
Well, right now, if you see with those five ones that they're trying to push through, that like we talked about the 1 in 30, and all of a sudden that got overturned, and now they're trying to push the 3 in 30, trying to push that through, saying, oh well, they're going to try to fight this, but it's going to take them a couple years to get through, so we'll put that in place. The Glock ban. What was the other one that just went through? There was two that ban? There was two that just passed. Oh my God!
And I mean, Glock is a popular selling gun.
Yeah,
and I'm sure you sell
the
a lot of
highest
Glocks
selling
gun. Glock is my most popular selling gun.
Right.
If you look at like name brand, every now and then you have some months or maybe even a quarter, where it's like, wow, we really killed it with the SIG, or we did this. And it's usually like, a new one comes out that, hey, Californians, we're pretty spoiled, man. We get bored, everything else, So they put something out there on the list, and it's like, oh man, guess what? The Springfield Hellcat is legal. Well, guess what? Springfield Hellcat that month, superseded Glock sales. Yeah. It would have even done better if we could have got the
list, right?
Well, it's still on the list now, but it's like the almighty Glock just prevails. It just keeps going and going and going. I mean, it's way ahead of its time. It's just an incredible design. It's easily modified.
It works, and
it is a little bit less expensive. Right, affordability, the reliability, everything else. Most firearms that are producing a polymered frame pistol, guess where they're getting those ideas from? It's that Glock design.
Glock was the first.
It's that striker fire.
Right. I think you told. I mean, I purchased a Smith and Wesson. I think a 40 from you, or SD. Was it the SDVE?
That's the Smith & Wesson, the SDVE, the Self-Defense Victory Edition is what that stands for.
That was pretty much the lower is pretty much, they kind of copied Glock.
They did.
A little bit on that, right?
They first came out in the late 80s or the early 90s. I'm trying to think, man, I'm having a brain thing right now where I can't think of the actual name of it. But Glock, they were litigated against. Smith & Wesson had a litigation and they had to stop. I know I can't think of the name of the first one.
I think it was you that was. I think it was we were talking about because that you were paying that Smith & Wesson had to pay Glock a royalty or something like that.
Or was a cease and desist? I think it was.
Something occurred to where they had to stop that model.
Oh, okay.
And then later on they were able to get back into the model. And now you look at, like we were just talking about, not the Canac, but the other one.
Shadow?
The Shadow Systems.
Shadow Systems, yes.
And that's a Glock, dude. Like it's a straight up Glock design, And the Smith & Wesson SDVE is still going, and that is a Glock. Like when you take it apart and you look inside, yeah, man, they either bought or copied or did something with those patents. That's like Glock's
changed
design.
It just a little bit.
And maybe just a subtle little difference.
Just to pass through the patent.
Springfield too, like the Springfield XD, it's got a lot of new characteristics like your beaver tail safety, your grip safety.
It has the thumb safety.
It's ambidextrous magazine release and stuff like that. But it's a Glock, dude. Like straight up, it is designed for Glock. And these guys in the industry, they have to say, okay, what is Glock doing? What can we do to kind of match them and keep up with them? Well, as much as I love the 5906 of Smith & Wesson that was supposed to be in the hands of all military and law enforcement, dude, Glock won. Yeah. Glock won. It's too expensive to produce that metallic gun, and Smith & Wesson had to change course.
Interesting.
Well, they have 5 like on deck. They passed 2. They're trying to push, and if you paid attention to the past, like before they would pass one, but it was like, hey, what's this over here? And they nibble. They take a little bit over there. So it's like, well, if we take a little bit at a time, they're not going to bitch too much. It's like putting, like I said before, a live frog in a pot and turn it on slowly and start before it knows it's boiled. That's exactly
how they achieve this,
well,
man.
all of a sudden now it's like, oh my God, we need to hurry. They're throwing, no hiding, just go. It's like a panic ban. They're trying to get as much as they can.
That has to have something to do with the new administration.
Yes,
and
it is.
A lot of the directives that they're giving about reciprocity for CCWs and putting out directives on trying to find Second Amendment infringement locations and fix them and all that. So that it has to have something to do with it.
Well, I think because was it Newsom on a few podcasts even admitted that the Democrat Party is going to lose California this next one, and I think that's why they're freaking out. They're like, let's push.
I don't know, dude.
all
it's
of this.
This state's strong.
Well, you remember
bro.
the end
It
of
really
the
is, man.
Biden administration where they started passing these things right and left, right and left, right and left, right and left, even after he lost the vote, but before his term was over.
Yeah,
Same thing.
could be,
Because it's
man.
going to take time to reverse it. They can't just go flip a switch, reversed. It's going to take time to go through its
Right.
process.
All right, guys, we've been going for a little bit over half an hour.
All right.
So anything else you
That's a
wanna talk
heavy
about?
subject.
No, it is, man.
God.
One thing I wanted to bring up, and I know you floated this a while back that you were wanting to open up an indoor gun range.
Yeah.
Is that in the 5-year plan? Possibly.
So
Will
I actually
we
had
see
that. I had that question for you on 5 years, not on an indoor gun range, but what's your 5-year plan? So I do want to go over that before we stop. But
Okay.
so
I think
it's-
that would be cool for Oakdale.
I think it would be great
And
for
we
Oakdale
talked
too,
about it a
man.
little bit
But
before.
I have to be honest, man.
It was a lot.
No, it was a lot. So
It was a
that was something I got into. Which if I got into it now, I would be much more successful because I know more now.
Okay.
However, we got a great relationship with OPD and the range that they have, man. We really do.
Yeah.
Everything has increased as far as HVAC and insurances go. Costs of building, everything else, man, has gotten a lot greater. I think it would take more time in order to generate that revenue lost from, building that down in a range. And then you have to think about location too, like where's
Yes.
it going to be?
Right.
So right now, man, 5-year plan. If some kind of opportunity popped up out of nowhere, because I'm an opportunist, man, like I like to jump on stuff, but I'm really smart about things and I would want to make sure the success. It's not in the 5-year plan.
Okay.
It was a lot
That-
the last time.
No,
That was a lot.
we spoke on it a little bit briefly,
Yeah.
and like you said, it got pretty intense as far as
It was a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot
I mean,
of red
things
tape
are-
to cut through.
Oh, God.
It is quite a
and
lot,
hoops to
man.
jump
And it is, everything's possible. Like anything's possible. There's nothing
Yeah.
that's not possible. It's all about, hey, location,
Right.
costs, how can we get that done, and
And would it generate enough
would
revenue?
it generate
to pay
enough
for
revenue
its-
to make it worth itself? Because I think there's going to be, when I was doing this last time, we were quoted like 160K.
Yeah.
It ended up, being a little over 3,
It was each time. I need more of this. Hey, I need more of this.
More,
Now we need to
it's
get
going to be
this
more
approved.
expensive, more
It
expensive, more
just kept
expensive.
going and
Right.
going
Now
and going.
I'm a little bit more wiser, and I would say, look, I probably wouldn't even try it unless there was about $500,000 or something like
Yeah.
that.
I get it.
Yeah.
Okay. Understandable. That was something I wanted to bring up today because,
Yeah,
I was a
man,
little bummed
yeah.
because I know you were going
Oh,
through it.
I was, man.
And I
It
was
wasn't-
psyched. Yeah, I mean, I was psyched for it. It was definitely something I would have, showed up at. I probably would have been a regular.
Well,
there,
too, like, so there's a lot of new stuff that I've been doing. Like, I've been digitizing a lot of stuff in business, and it's kind of the wave of the future. It's where it goes, So
Yes.
when you get into these customer acquisition sets where you've got 2,000 customer base or something, it'd be pretty easy for me to get, the 1,500 members that I originally wanted, So that right there would be a plus that would be taken care of. But then there's all the other stuff that we talked about, like how do you do that? So
Right.
yeah, man. I mean, hey, you know what? Things happen when you have the idea,
Yeah.
and then you start thinking about
It's
it.
also
and you start
California
talking
too
about
with
it.
the red tape.
I
and
was
the
going to say
regulations.
But
and
that's in
it is
everything.
California.
Though. That's in
Yeah.
everything. I mean,
Right,
look at these guys that
Yeah.
are putting up these car dealerships, man, and these paint.
Well, that's
booths
what I'm
and
saying.
everything.
It's just everybody's
it's-
bailing
it's-
because of all the regulations here.
Yeah, there's a lot of it. There's a lot.
Yeah,
there.
it's hard to do. And I mean, as far as indoor gun ranges, there's only a couple of them around now, isn't there? I mean, you've got one in Ripon.
You got the
a
Barn
couple-
Arms been there for a million years.
Yeah.
They've been there forever. They're pretty much
Kiwis did a good job.
grandfathered
They've
in.
got a 5-lane range that's in Riverbank.
Oh, Riverbank has one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Right next to Pizza Plus Kiwis.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You've got
Called to Arms. No,
thank
it's
you.
not. It's
It is
no,
Call to
it's-
Arms now. Yes, it was California Shooting Sports,
Yes,
and now it's
Call
Call
to
to
Arms,
Arms.
yeah.
And I haven't been there recently either, but I've heard that
It's
they're
the
actually
same.
expanding it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So far, it's the same, except right now they have. They don't sell the stuff. They have a lot of different firearms that you can
Like
rent
rent,
to shoot.
yeah.
Okay.
So
okay.
you've got 3, that I know of, and there might be something.
There might be more. Is there one on Yosemite still, or did that go away?
I
thought someone else bought that.
Arms. That's the,
yeah, but I thought someone else bought it.
I think it used to be called
Gun Country, and it was like Ronning Arms.
Gun Country, Ronning Arms, but I thought someone else bought it.
My uncle used to take me there to shoot when I was a little
kid. The Ronning
kid.
one, that was a crazy one.
After Ronning, I think it was like Ixnay ever arrange A. There will never be a range there because of circumstances that occurred there.
I think I remember a little bit about that.
Tell me, like, so you brought up the 5-year plan. That was actually one of my questions for you. Like, Combs Rental, man, what's 5-year plan? What would you like to see yourself?
5-year plan. I would like to possibly open up another location somewhere in there, maybe multiple locations. I mean, that would be the goal. You know, this is kind of like the model, you know, right here, and we're going to kind of iron out any of the wrinkles and kind of get this solid. And if we can duplicate that somewhere else, I'm down to go for it. And we have the opportunity and a location. I would like to go for that. So that would be my ultimate goal, is to have multiple locations.
Very cool.
So, and you know, like I said, it being California, it's a little hard to do, you know, but I think it's doable, you know, so it's just all about location. So finding another place that it needs a rental yard or a small engine repair, I think it's a good recipe for success. I do have customers up the hill. I do have a lot of people that call me up the hill, and I have looked up there, and they're populate. I mean, it is a very big growing community, and Sonora is really spread out.
Yeah,
too. It's, you know, like Oakdale, we're kind of, you know, we have our city, but Sonora it's huge, and there's a lot of stuff going on up there. So I would like to maybe move a little up into the foothills. One thing I am hesitant about that is it's a little harder on my equipment.
Sure.
Because of the terrain. It's a lot rockier up there, and people tend to be a little bit harder on your equipment. But I'm open to it. If something were to present itself and we're in a good position to do it, I would like to.
I love it,
definitely, man.
That's awesome.
Definitely. So... All right.
Well, guys, is anything else we want to talk about?
No, we can
for this episode.
We can save stuff for the next episode.
All right, man.
Yeah.
I had a good time, dude.
Sweet. Always.
Number 3 coming to an end. All right. Yeah. Cheers to you all. All right, bye, everybody.
All right.
Cool, man.